I finally just finished putting together the Norwood lapside / shingle maker. And let me tell you the amount of hours I spent trying to figure this out. Norwood is notorious for having terrible directions. And I experienced the same thing when I was putting together the sawmill. Even though I do love the sawmill, it's my first one, but I love it. I just love turning trees into lumber. So on this thing, first thing, see these little feet? There's 4 of them. They're the ones that attach it to the base. Put them on the outside. The directions will tell you to tuck it underneath, and you'll never be able to get to it to screw it in because it's blocked. It's an engineering flaw that the directions say to do it like that. So that's the first thing. Like, I struggled with it originally. Like, I was tracing it out, disconnecting it here, screwing it in first, putting it back together. But doing it like this doesn't interfere with the operation at all. And there's 4 of them. Let's see. The next thing, and this is the part that I struggled with. The handle here. This is how it works. The directions are so unclear about this, and there's so many different moving parts. Oh, I can't tell you the amount of time. And I've got a college degree. Okay, I graduated from a top business school with a 3.6 GPA. I'm not an idiot. I work with tools and I do all my own maintenance on my track loader over there, my truck. This was just very unclear. So what you want with the handle straight down, and from the directions, I didn't understand if straight down was like this or if straight down was like resting on the stop here. But have the handle straight down. With your handle straight down, you want the cams, these things, to be facing forward. Okay? And the way that it works is with it like, this is the down position, and then you move the handle up to the stop, and you can adjust it to get it steeper or shallower. So you would alternate. You'd do one cut like that, you'd come up in one cut like that. Now for the lapsider, you move the handle this way. And what that does is there's a wheel on this side, and when you move this like that, I'll show you over here, the wheel will push this side up. See how that's up now? There's a space underneath so that it will it'll tilt for making siding. I literally spent all day on this yesterday trying to figure it out, because the directions never show this handle in a down position. The directions always show the handle like in an up position, or look at right here. You see that picture? It's in a it's in a sideways position. All the pictures are like that. So you would think you could go off of the directions. So you look on this one. Is that handle straight down? None of them are. And the directions are extremely unclear. Sorry if I'm ranting, but I mean, I hope this saves some other people. And all it does for shingles, you're going from there to there. For lap siding, you're going from there to there, back, lifting and lowering. Another problem I ran into was, can you see on this? Can you see this rod here? See how it's all grinded down? Well, these cams are supposed to slide over it. It would not go over. This rod was way too thick. I had to take my grinder and grind it all down. See how that cam right there is singed? I had to heat it up. This one is fine. So I know it's not user error. This one is totally fine. But this one gave me a hard time. So anyways, I hope that helps some people out, just seeing the position. Oh, and the other thing that I did too is in the directions, you'll be building this one first, right? If I were you, I would switch the handle so it goes onto this one. They'll tell you to put it on this one, but this one will be better because it's closer to you. When you're milling, you know, you're gonna have to walk up to it and change it 1,000 times. You're better off with it being closer to you and the handle being on that one. So there you have it. Norwood, you gotta do better. You've gotta do better. So disappointed with your instructions, and I struggled with similar engineering flaws when I was putting the mill together over there. All right, have a good one. Hope this helps. Here's just one other thing. The directions say to make your base here 96 inches or 8 feet. Do yourself a favor, make it 8.5 feet, because these bunks, these cross bunks, are exactly 8 feet from each other. See how it's barely on there, on that edge. And it's barely on there at that edge. So make it a little bit wider. I wish I had. I mean, this is probably going to be fine, but maybe with the vibration it'll come off. I don't know. Here's another thing. Right now, I just adjusted this so that it would be in the fully, you know, the tallest position, making the greatest angle. You see the cam here, how it's straight up? Well, this is how you can adjust the height. But before, I had the stop here halfway down. So if I had the handle halfway down now, imagine the stop was down here. You see how that's like that? You see how that's, you know, at an angle, and gravity wants to push it down? See how I just pushed it down with my hand? I just pushed it down. That's what gravity and the vibration of this machine are going to want to do. And that's what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to me. So my suggestion, don't mess around with it. Put it in the fully upright position, and then all your shingles are just going to have to be like that. See how the cam is straight up in the tallest position? It's pushing it up as far as it can go. Well, at least now it's got a flat surface, and I can't push it down now. I can't push it down. So that's my suggestion. And I'm like 90% sure this thing is all set up the right way. I think it's kind of an engineering flaw that the handle doesn't rest on top, so gravity doesn't want to push it, you know, and the vibration doesn't want to push this handle down out of place like that. I feel like it should be underneath. You know, maybe I can, no, because if I put it underneath, if I put the stop right here underneath, it might be fine. No, I wouldn't be able to rotate it down. Yeah, no, there's no way. It's got to be like this. All right, and I think this is going to be my last tip. See these screws right here? This one, and over here. Cut the tops of those off. See how I cut those off? That allowed me to get 1 or 2 extra passes. See how thin these are? At the bottom, I can't go any lower now. But that's the waist. And this was the waist before I cut the screws. See how much thicker that is? Now, before, with the screws sticking up, I had to stop. You can actually see in this one when I was cutting, then right there I saw I was going to hit it, had to stop. So yeah, cut those off. It's better. And I have an idea about saving these scraps, using some wood glue and gluing them all back together, letting them, you know, clamp them, let them sit overnight, and then I'll be able to mill all the scraps. I don't know if that's worth the time or whatever, but time and energy. I hate waste. And as long as I'm on the shingle maker, I guess I should say one more thing. To make shingles, you need to quarter saw. You need to take your log, cut it into 4 quarters, and that way you can get vertical grain. Like, see this one? See the vertical grain? I'll be able to go down most of the way and still get quarter sawn, you know, vertical grain like this. And every one of these is like that. Every one of these blocks is like that. And that makes it less likely that it'll warp, cup. Also, it won't shrink as much if you quarter saw your blocks. This is what I just did. It's going really good now. You just got to get in a rhythm of changing the depth. Once you get in that rhythm, it goes pretty smooth. You have to do so many passes and go back and forth every time. You can't use the scale. It takes way too long if you're using the scale. So what I do is, when this is flat, when the cam is flat and it's down, I'll lower it a half a turn, like that. Just a half a turn. I don't even look at the scale. Then I'll go through it. I'll come back. I'll put this in the up position, and now I'll just lower it a quarter of a turn. So I'll just go from here, eyeball it, quarter turn, and all my shingles are coming out pretty consistent. You got to come up with your, if you don't like that system, you got to come up with your own system, because there's no way you can look at that thing every time. These shingles are pretty good.